Welcome, boss, to another lesson. Tell me honestly today, with your hand truly on your heart, who, in your estimation, is your employee to you indeed really? Because having worked in many different companies, I've consistently noticed a tendency to treat manual workers much, much worse than office workers. Why exactly is that? I don't really know myself because quite often, office workers feel inherently superior to manual workers. So who truly is your employee to you? Are they your slave? Are they just a dirty worker? Someone you're afraid to shake hands with just because you might get your own hand dirty? Think about this very, very carefully, because your company's overall results will depend very heavily upon it, your crucial financial results. So it's very important for both of us. That being said, I would like to sincerely and wholeheartedly congratulate you because you have truly achieved an extraordinary and remarkable success. Because if you are a dedicated manager or the esteemed head of a large company, you must have truly put a lot of your own personal effort into making that company a beautiful diamond or a truly precious pearl. But now I have a request for you. Please, close your eyes. I really truly ask you to do this. Close your eyes and try to remember what the very beginnings of your company actually looked like. Was your company a powerful enterprise from the very start? I don't think so. Like most companies, you probably started out in a garage or in your own apartment. When you started this business, it truly required incredible courage, strong drive, self-confidence, a deep belief in yourself that you would succeed, and unwavering commitment. These are things that people in the job market often lack. That's why they are employees and not entrepreneurs. Does that truly make them worse people than you are? I think absolutely not, in any way whatsoever. As an entrepreneur, you probably have a lot of contacts. You know all kinds of different people, from individuals who haven't truly succeeded in life to very successful people who earn millions. Isn't that right? Most likely, yes, indeed. If you carefully study people's individual stories, you'll be shocked. You'll see that in reality, sometimes a lack of financial resources was the reason why someone, for example, didn't get an education or didn't develop a serious business. Or a dysfunctional family situation led to the fact that this person is an employee today and not a powerful entrepreneur. Sometimes the fact that someone didn't succeed in life doesn't make them a worse person at all. Why am I telling you this? Because if you treat your employee exceptionally well with due respect, since just like a client, they bring you money, maybe they don't bring a briefcase full of cash to your company, but they give you their work, which you then sell at a higher price. So in a way, they are like a store for you, selling in certain wholesale quantities, and you sell it further. That's why when you go to a wholesaler, I doubt you treat the wholesaler with disrespect. You definitely shake hands. You treat each other kindly, even though you are the one paying him, not the other way around. And I think it should be the same with your employee. You probably have no idea just how much our morale truly rises when you treat us as valued business partners, not simply as people of significantly lower rank than yourself. But why is that? Let me illustrate this crucial point with a compelling example. If you genuinely want to, I can certainly recommend a very worthwhile and engaging movie for you to watch this evening. The movie is called The Experiment. An experiment was carefully conducted where randomly selected individuals from a newspaper advertisement, those who drew ones became the designated prisoners, and those who drew twos during the count became the appointed prison guards. The only exception was that it was strictly forbidden to hit a prisoner or to hit a prison guard. If such a situation occurred, there was also a red emergency button, but pressing it would immediately end the experiment, and as a result, no one would receive any financial compensation for participating in the experiment. Or why am I telling you about this particular experiment? Because it turned out that the prison guards began to treat the prisoners so incredibly badly that it was truly beyond comprehension. Why did they behave in this way? After interviewing these people, it really turned out that they themselves didn't quite know why they treated the prisoners so badly, even though they were indeed fictional people, fictional guards, and fictional prisoners. In reality, none of this was actually happening. Therefore, neither side truly had any compelling reason to treat each other with such profound animosity and disrespect. Let me tell you, a very similar situation occurs in many companies where a manager treats their employees badly just because they haven't achieved the same level of success as he has, and he wants to prove his superiority to them at all costs. But I think that's not the right approach, and I'll tell you why. I promised that I would teach you something completely different from what managers teach in courses. Let me tell you about a different approach to employees, one that I personally experience in the company where I currently work, where employees are treated like friends. What do you think? Is this good or bad? After all, in many courses, they actually teach you to step out of friendly relationships and, in fact, start behaving toward your former colleague just like a stranger. But I have a completely different perspective: to treat your employee like a friend. And I'll tell you why. Now think about your best friend. Would you deceive them? Would you lie to them? Would you avoid them? Would you ever treat them or their family badly? Would you truly let them go hungry? A critical issue which we will certainly talk about in just a moment. Of course not. Absolutely not. That's exactly and precisely why it is so incredibly important. Now, just think about how an employee truly thinks. If he is indeed your trusted friend, then he thinks in precisely the same way that you do. When he does something truly wrong or makes a significant mistake towards you or your esteemed company. I mean normal, empathetic people, not those entirely devoid of natural feelings or a conscience. Such a dedicated employee will genuinely feel a deep sense of pain. He will undoubtedly feel profoundly guilty for disappointing you, for letting you down in such a significant way. See how completely you can truly change the relationship by treating your employee, regardless of whether they are an office worker or a manual laborer. See how looking at this employee differently can transform the entire company. When you truly transform your former adversaries into loyal and steadfast friends, you will undoubtedly discover that such a devoted friend will, at the very least, diligently endeavor to meet all deadlines punctually and on time, primarily because they profoundly understand that they absolutely cannot treat their most cherished and trusted best friend like an enemy, but rather as a valued and respected companion. I'm telling you this for a very important reason, because I've noticed that in many companies, a person doesn't even have their own name and surname, but just a number. That's truly my absolute favorite approach when it comes to dealing with employees. It genuinely doesn't even matter what their actual first or last name is, they simply just have to provide their unique identification number. I understand that sometimes your company might be so big that you have to identify people by number so that the same first or last name doesn't repeat. That truly makes perfect sense. But please think about this carefully. If you consistently treat an employee as impersonally as a mere number, what does that truly and realistically look like in practice? At that precise point, he is absolutely not your trusted friend or your loyal ally. Why? What is the employee thinking at that moment? And I'll tell you this from my own personal experience. A mere number is very, very easy to replace with another number. If a number, for whatever reason, gets sick, absolutely nothing bad will truly happen to the company. A number doesn't necessarily have to try hard or be particularly loyal, since you can simply and easily replace it with another number. A mere number doesn't necessarily have to show you respect as a valued supervisor. Think about how truly harmful and dehumanizing it is when we refer to an individual employee as simply a number. Of course, your dedicated employee can indeed have an assigned number, but it is always good and highly beneficial if we consistently remember their actual first and last name. As the truly well-known author Dale Carnegie once profoundly said, a person's own unique name is, without a doubt, the most beautiful and cherished word to them. In other words, your very own personal name is indeed the most beautiful and significant word for you, resonating deeply within your being. If I had the opportunity to mention your name in this course, believe me, I would most gladly do it because I truly know that it has been the most important word for you ever since the very day you were born. If you are an employee and you're watching my management course, I kindly ask you to leave a comment on how you see it, how you feel about employees being treated as just a number. Because I have a slightly different opinion than most managers, since I believe that a number could just as well be a camp number or a prison number. So I have very negative associations with that. And if your employee has a number like in prison, think about the fact that they won't give 100% of their effort, since at that point they're coming to work as if it were a punishment, like going to prison. That's just why the way in which you perceive your employee is very important, both for them and for you, so that you can treat each other as partners. Also think about this. If, for example, I'm just a number, then why should I, as a number, give 100 or 150% of my effort at work if I'm just a number? A number doesn't have to be engaged. A number doesn't have to think. A number just has to work and doesn't have to give anything more of themselves. That's how a number thinks. Now think about how your friend would think. Someone who wants to do much more for you than if they were just a number in your statistics. This very approach is extremely important. I think there will be quite a few comments under this video, for which I thank you in advance. Please share your thoughts both as a manager and as an employee. If you are a manager who has just been promoted, think about how you perceived the situation when you were just a number in the company. Now please take a moment to think about your children. Even if you have 10 of them, do you call them by number or do you call them by their names? Of course you call them by their names and wish them all the best. Surely you're an entrepreneur who has put a lot of energy, strength, and commitment into your work to become the entrepreneur you are today. You had to read many books on personal development or at least learn self-confidence. Today you are teaching these things to your children. Now think about this. What if you put that same level of commitment into your employees and simply treated them like family? Just imagine it from a completely different perspective. How much commitment and dedication would they truly put into the company if you consistently treated them in a friendly, supportive, and encouraging way? First and foremost, you would be teaching them self-confidence. And self-confidence is not arrogance, as many people tend to think. Above all, it is trust in yourself, the belief that you will succeed. Similarly, you believe in your children, that what they do will work out for them in life and that they will achieve success. In the same way, I urge you, believe in your employee, believe that they are the best. Give them a bit of your time, your commitment, and you'll see how even in these depressing times, your company's morale will rise and your people will become a cohesive team. They will simply come to truly love you and will be willing to do absolutely anything and everything for you. So, to sum up this important lesson, treat your valued employee like a trusted friend, not just a mere number, because people will do absolutely anything for a truly good friend. Start believing in them the way you believe in your own children. Give them plenty of patience, give them a lot of commitment, and provide them with the right tools to help them grow. And let your company finally start making money instead of losing it just because of a lack of motivation and the wrong approach to employees. To finish, I have a little exercise for you. I kindly ask you to go up to at least one of your valued employees today, greet them warmly, and sincerely wish them a truly good day. Ask them how they're genuinely doing, if everything is perfectly okay, how they're truly feeling, how their important work is progressing, and treat them just like a trusted friend. You'll clearly see how your dedicated employee will immediately start to spread their magnificent wings like a beautiful bird ready to gracefully take flight. At that precise moment, they'll feel genuinely uplifted and deeply motivated to do their work with the utmost care and unwavering commitment. Something completely different from what you've experienced so far.